Oh, I'm so good. How are you? Good afternoon. Harder than taking the short road or making a decision. And she's a spy, and she works in the group called the Dregs. And you have the Kaz Brecker, who is the mastermind. You have our sharpshooter, Jesper, played by me.
It sucks you in from the get-go, doesn't it? Because there are these sort of band of like quite sort of diverse and interesting characters who aren't necessarily, you know, super like we've seen loads of times before. So we're really able to embed ourselves in our imagination in the story from the get-go. And I want to ask a bit, because Inej is written to be of Suli heritage, and is described as having brown skin and dark brown eyes and like black hair and a braid, or she wears down when, you know, she's. Was that sort of level of representation important for you, that it was written from the get-go that that was the role for you?
Oh my God, absolutely. You know, for pretty much my whole life, ever since going to drama school, so many of my parts have been you can tell it, you know, it's for a white female, and I'm always kind of fighting to prove myself or show that I am worthy of an incredible part like Inej's. So I remember auditioning for Inej and having the breakdown through, and there was this beautiful fan art of what Inej looked like, and she was
online for it. It's so gorgeous. And you have
yeah, and
you
so much
look like people imagined that you look. It's amazing.
A lot of people did say that, yeah, and it was a really weird experience for me as well, because I was looking at this fan art, and in a way I was like, oh gosh, that really looks like me, you know, there's brown eyes and the black hair and the kind of similar face shape, and you know, my nose is a little bit bigger, but who cares. But I saw it and I couldn't believe my luck. I was like, oh wow, this is actually for a brown person, you know. The role hasn't been changed. I'm not here to fit into a box or anything like that. And then I read the character description, and it was non-stereotypical, it was three-dimensional, it was a character that I've never seen on screen before, regardless of the color she was as well. And I wanted it so bad.
And
so I did my tape
beforehand then. So were you like a fan before, or was it something you entered the Grishaverse with the adaptation for TV?
I had no idea of the Grishaverse until I did my first tape, and then between my first tape to the second audition, I read the book, and I bought Six of Crows, and I thought I was going to finish it in one sitting. So I thought I was going to, you know, read one chapter or something like that. And I kid you not, I finished it. I didn't eat, I didn't drink, I didn't sleep. I just read it because the book was so good. I think it's one of the best books ever written in terms of the genre. And Leigh Bardugo, she is queen.
What is queen it that you think? Is it that sort of like, you know how Harry Potter has that sort of like fan base, partly because people feel represented in the book, in that people feel a bit other or individual or sort of left out from mainstream? Is it partly that she sort of brings this sort of group of characters together in this like really interconnected, woven story that makes people feel part of it? Or what is it that you think sucks people in?
I think you said it really. I think, you know, especially with the Six of Crows character, everyone's got real life issues that everyone can connect to. You know, you've got Jesper, who has his gambling addiction. You've got Kaz and Inej, who obviously suffer with trauma from, you know, from the past. And then you've got someone like Matthias, who struggles with their identity. You know, there are so many things that people can connect with, and they're timeless themes as well, no matter what age you are. You know, if we're 50 years in the future, who knows? Anyone who's watching this program, the series, or reading the books, you will connect to something. And I think the way Leigh has done it as well is very realistic, and it's not glorified or magnified either. It is what it is. And she's written it in such a real way. Like, even I got emotional when reading the books, you know, of all the different storylines and the moments that happen. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but I cried. I cried, I laughed, I gasped, I was on the edge of my seat. And then bringing that onto the production into the show, you know, you already have these real feelings, so you know what a certain moment would feel like, or the interaction between a character. You know that kind of energy that bubbles inside you. It's yeah, and I think Lee Bardugo in all of the books just kind of brings this realness, even though it's in a fantasy epic world, and now Netflix has this huge platform for everyone else to see it, you know, and connect with.
Yeah, I'm going to come to that because I want to ask you about that what that must feel like. But I want to ask you first about the pressure and how you handle it, because you've mentioned about the fan art, and you know there are so many huge fans of the books and the show and you. How do you handle that? Like, obviously they have really warmed to you playing the part, but how do you handle that pressure of living up to their expectations? I mean, can you handle it?
Yeah, I think I was really happy that I read the books before I got the part, even though I was auditioning for it, because it gave me this window to look into the fan base and to kind of ask myself, okay, this book must be, you know, must be doing really well if Netflix want to turn it into a series. And I discovered the fandom, and I discovered the Grishaverse, and all of these characters are so beloved. And I completely understand why. I completely empathize with the fan base, because they've been there from the beginning and they've lived with these characters. And some of these characters have inspired people and made them feel comfortable with themselves as well. So obviously there was this huge pressure. And in my head, I was thinking, oh gosh, you know, I'm a huge fan of Inej as well. Can I do her justice? You know, am I going to be able to live up to these expectations? Of course, I'm never going to make everyone happy. You know, no one can make everyone happy in the world. But
I can't
to start
see anybody in any of the comments saying anything other than how amazing you are and how much they love you. It's a whizzing past with all these people around the world saying how you are the perfect Inej. So that must feel really good, mustn't it?
It does. It's a massive sigh of relief. And you know, if I was in a position where I had a really beloved character and, you know, someone else was going to bring her to life, I'd feel really anxious, because I know what it is in my head, and I want her to kind of make other people feel what she made me feel. And I've been really lucky. I don't know what I've done to deserve such an amazing response,
Well,
but
come on.
It's been incredible.
You've done a brilliant job, and you should be really proud of yourself for that. You've obviously incredibly talented, and you've got an untouchable skill that you can connect with people and through your acting, and that's just such a wonderful thing. I want to ask you about your acting as well, about with Kaz, and that magnetism that you create in that relationship between the two of you. How do you go about trying to workshop that between the two of you as actors, and to try and get that connection across on screen?
It's such a great question, because when I finished reading the books, I thought their relationship was so magical and so unique. And it's very rare you read a relationship where it's such a guttural, internal, intense kind of feeling. And it all happens in the eyes, and it all happens in the stomach and the heart, instead of with the words or the physical touch or a kiss or, you know, anything like that. So when me and Freddie, we didn't have any chemistry reads or anything like that.
Wow,
he was cast and I was cast.
So you were just in there cold. That's incredible.
In there cold.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was really anxious to see, you know, who was going to be playing him. And I remember we were meeting Eric and Lee, and I knew Freddie was going to come in that day, so my heart was going like 1,000 miles an hour, because I get really nervous. I'm getting hot already thinking about it. And he walked through the door with this huge smile, such a calm energy, and just these big beautiful blue eyes. And I thought, I was really happy that we didn't have to, you know, have a chemistry read, because he really, for me anyway, he was the perfect Kazbrecker. So when we came together in Budapest, you know, we just geeked out over the books. We discussed, we hung out with the rest of the cast and got to know one another. And what was really beautiful was that we both cared about the relationship so much, and we both wanted to respect, you know, the fans and what Lee had written. And, you know, we appreciated everything that everyone else appreciated about the relationship. And I think the challenge was, how do you, you know, show this chemistry without, like I said, without saying, oh, I like you, or I like the way you smile, or without holding someone's hand, or, you know, giving them a hug. But I think they just have one of those relationships where their actions speak louder than their words. And, you know, their traumas as well, it kind of inhibits them to be this way with one another. But also right now, you know, they haven't been working for long together, and I think they're figuring their feelings out, and they're realizing what they mean to one another, and perhaps that they're more powerful together. But it's, for me, it was all in the eyes. I don't know. He was just such an incredible scene partner
as well, though. You really feel.
I have really expressive eyebrows. Like, I try and keep them still all the time.
Do that. It's like an amazing sort of. I can't do it.
Go on, give it a try.
But you know, if all else fails, this could be what you fall back on, your magical eyebrows on Britain's Got Talent or something like that. You know.
Yeah.
So you've obviously both come at it with such sort of care and attention and love for the characters from the get-go. And you mentioned earlier about her moral compass, strong moral compass. Is that something that you share as well as a person?
I think I do, you know, not in the way that Inej does. My biggest inspiration in my life.
Then, or...
No, definitely not. Can you imagine? I would love to know that I've lived with the character, because at the, you know, when I figured out what her knives meant to her, it felt like armor. But yeah, my mum has always been the biggest inspiration in my life, and you know, she has gone through so much, like, you know, any mothers have, I guess. And for her to still be so kind and still smile at the little things in life and still see the light, I don't know, in the world and whatnot, that is my strong moral compass. You know, I'd like to say kill them with kindness. It's kind of half the version, half me.
That's what I always say to my children. You know, you get more from lemonade than lemons and all of those things. And I definitely think that kindness is a superpower, because not enough people have it. So I was trying to sort of draw correlations between your character and you as a person, and what I'd read about you researching beforehand. And it seems to me that they've both you and Inej have had to switch into like alien environments and learned how to thrive in them. Because you grew up, would that be fair? I don't know. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
You grew up in Nepal as a child and came to the UK, and that must have been an incredible culture shock. So would you say that there is a sort of link between those, and that helped you potentially in preparing for the role?
Gosh, yeah, definitely. I mean, I wasn't forced into the UK. I came here by choice, but
no,
you know, just clarifying. But
yes.
No, I know what you're saying. Yeah, Inej comes from, she was taken from her home and put into Katadam, and she learns to kind of figure her position in this brutal world. And for me, I grew up in Nepal, in a small village, with like no electricity, no transportation. You know, we grew our own food. We created our own fire to cook the food on. I had no connection to the outside world. You know, I thought the world was flat, because all I could see was, you know, what my eyes could see. So coming to the UK, coming to the modernized futuristic world of, you know, planes and having a fridge and having a kitchen, and all of these kind of supermarket. Oh my gosh, going to the supermarket for food. I was just like, what? This is so mad.
How old were you when you came to the UK then?
I was 7.
So you must be, you know, you've probably got plenty of memories. You're old enough to sort of remember the stark contrast then between those two different lifestyles.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we didn't even, maybe this is a bit too much information, but we didn't even have toilets over there.
Wow.
And then when I came over here, you had this like luxurious seat that you sit down on, and you know, you do your business, and you have your own privacy. Like the women in our village, you know, we had to gather up in the evening when it had gone dark, and we take a torch and we go out in the fields and do our business, and then come home. So it was a real culture shock. It was the first time I fell in love with cake, because in the village there's no sugar.
And so, do you ever
I mean,
take that for granted now, or have you still got like a really sweet tooth?
oh, honestly, I would die for cake. I love cake so much. I I ate cake
Are
for
you
all
good
of the 6 months.
baking yourself now? Then have you taught yourself?
I don't think I am, you know. You know what? Freddy did make a really good banana bread in Budapest, and I've been trying to make banana bread ever since because it was so good, but it's not as good as
Mary
his, I'm not
Berry's
gonna lie.
recipe, and add chocolate chips. That's all I'm saying.
Chocolate chips. Okay, Mary Berries,
So
thank
good.
you.
It is so good. It was like the thing that everyone did in like lockdown 1 back in the UK.
Yeah, didn't you just love Great British Bake Off? Oh my gosh, we spent so many evenings watching that. It was amazing.
It is. It's something really soothing about it, and that, and the Great Pottery Throwdown one that they do as well. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's just
No.
it's really charming, really charming. So I want to ask you about Inej again, and there's something that strikes me, and it could change, but it seems to me like she's got like a really good sense of self-worth in this, in that she's like resisting, you know, she doesn't want to just sort of like go for Kaz on any terms. It's got to be when he has emotionally opened up to her as well. And I wondered if that was something that you related to as well, and if you are someone who finds it easy to share your emotions, or are you more reserved like Inej?
I wear my heart on the sleeve, so you know what you see, what you see is what you get. But I think one of the most inspiring things about Inej is what she has taught me. Because to get in her mindset, you know, you have to feel, despite the traumas that you've had, you have to learn to survive, and she learns to survive in a very harsh environment. And I think one of the best things about her is how she unapologetically, if I've said that correctly, demands equality and honesty from, you know, from her peers, from the people that she's working with. And if she doesn't get it, you know, she's gone. See you later. And I think she does that so powerfully. So now when I speak about you know, having the same opportunities for everyone, equal rights and whatnot, instead of kind of doing it out of fear of my skin color or the reaction that I might get or anything like that, I've learned to do that in a much more powerful kind of way of, you know, this is so important and I'm not in the wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that is an amazing lesson to have under your belt. Like, I think most women are struggling with that. You know,
yeah, it's a really hard thing.
20 years older than you, and that's something that I could still probably not, you know, feel in myself, that you're trying to figure it out. So if you feel that you've got a handle on it already, that's an incredible place to be.
I hope so, because, you know, learning your self-worth, you can only teach it to yourself, because at the end of the day, so many people feel like they can make that up for you, if you know what I mean. And it's so easy to kind of let other people tell us how valuable we are, or what we're capable of, or, you know, what we should and should be doing. But at the end of the day, you always end up surprising yourself if you stop listening to other people and kind of focus on inside and, you know, challenge yourself. Or you know, when you're in a position of and then something happens and you really shock yourself of what you're capable of, and suddenly you think, oh my gosh, like, why was I thinking this way the whole time? And I think Inej is a real representation of that, especially considering what she's gone through.
Yeah, well, wise words. And speaking about capabilities, obviously she's very bendy and agile. I mean,
yeah,
is that something that comes naturally to you as well, or was that like hardcore in the gym?
It was hardcore in the gym, I tell you. I mean, don't get me wrong, when I was younger, I was into sports. I did trampolining, I did swimming, I did army cadets, I did gymnastics, I was always on a hike, and I love the outdoors. But then, you know, when you get in high school and you start worrying about all the stupid things like boys, and my shoulder muscles were getting bigger because of swimming, so I stopped that. More stupid things. Anyway, so fast forward, after university, I was so unfit. I mean, I was getting tired carrying the shopping bags home. But Inez, you know, like you said, she's so physically capable. Even though she's tiny, she's ferocious. So I trained at the gym a lot, like a lot. I surprised myself because I remember my first session with Gary, who's our personal trainer, and he was amazing. And you know, we started off really light, and he had to hold me up to do a pull-up. Like generally
how many can you do
holding.
now?
Oh, I can't do any now thanks to COVID. But I could do them by the end, and I could do push-ups. And it was so cold in Budapest. Oh my gosh, it was so cold that, you know, when you do like 10 minutes of really fast running on the spot to warm yourself up, because I'd gotten so fit, I had to run for minutes, had to run for ages to feel the warmth, or like do like at least 20 push-ups to kind of start feeling some warmth again. But you know, it was better to be fit than unfit.
And were members of the cast joining you on this training session? Because was there a real camaraderie? I mean, it just seems to me that you all, on the occasional things that I've seen you do as a group together, that you're all such good friends, and that you've kind of like found some kind of family with each other, bond. We spoke to Lydia West back in February, I think it was, after It's a Sin, and she was saying that the boys she was filming with have become her chosen family. Would you say that the group of you have become each other's chosen family?
Absolutely. Honestly, none of us were expecting it at all, but they are my found family. I love them all so much. And yeah, all of us are so different, and you know, all of us have had so many different experiences, but all of us, I don't know what it is on it, like I just love them to bits, and we had such a great time, and there was so much support. And you know, we're talking every single day. Like, you know, as the restrictions lifted, I met Sajaya, I've met Jessie and Danielle. You know, we had a little girls catch up over some food out, and it was pouring. It was raining so hard, but we just loved being together. And you know, whenever, I don't know, the support is just unreal. Like, I mean, I'm the one that people laugh at, but I don't mind because I say silly things all the time. And then you've got, you know, the ones who crack all the jokes that are actually funny, and the ones who are just bring the sunshine into the group. And I don't know, it's just I cannot explain to you, but there was not one bad energy, and all of us just,
what a lovely gift to have a cast like that. And I want to ask you as well about, you know, obviously it's a Netflix hit, so it's going to be like a global thing, and you know, people are talking about it in the same breath as things like the Twilight series, like Game of Thrones. And I wondered if you had sort of mentally thought about that and prepared for what that might mean, like once we're out of restrictions, in terms of your level of fame, and if you feel ready for it, if it's something that you want, or if it's something that just is like a byproduct of the work.
I definitely think it's a byproduct of the work. Sorry, I had no idea what to expect. So I'm a person that always prepares for the worst and hopes for the best. But the response has just been so incredible. And you know, we got the episodes months before it was released, and so we had time to go through the journey of, oh no, I'm terrible, oh gosh, okay, that bit was okay, okay, the show's really good, thank God, you know, all of that. So now the fact that it's out in the world, I don't think my life, I don't know, maybe I'm being naive or something like that. I don't think my life is going to be that different. I'm just hoping. Am I? Like, I don't know.
I think that, you know, the fan base was so sort of solid and invested even before the programs came out, and Netflix has done, and obviously the cast and the writing and everything and costumes and all of it has been such a stellar job. But because it's lived up to people's expectations, I think you are in danger of serious global fame. Sorry.
No, don't. I mean, but yeah, people keep saying that, which is amazing, and I'm just really relieved that, you know, the majority of the fan base love it, because we enjoyed making it so much. I just want this to give me same opportunity as any other actress of, you know, getting auditions through of all sorts of things for all different caliber of work. I don't want to be stereotyped. I don't want to be going up for the part where they've changed the diversity or like whatever, you know. I want people to start writing three-dimensional characters for not just myself but for all the minorities, because I think there's such power in diversity and inclusion, and I think it makes the world a better place. And you know, it's amazing to now have this voice. I'm always nervous to use it because, like, I want to try and do it for good and
don't be
teach myself.
Everything you've said so far has been so wise and thoughtful and thought-provoking. So don't be scared to use it. I think it's another gift. That's how you need to look at it.
Thank you.
So I wanted to ask as well about, it's obviously been like a really challenging year, I think is the buzzword, and for everyone. I wanted to ask you about how you cope with it, how you cope with working in lockdown, how the promotional tour is going, having to do it sort of from home, from home, and how you're kind of like moving forward with whatever you've learnt in this last year.
Yeah, I think for me it was so strange. From the age of, you know, 16, I've always been so busy, you know, school, college, work, daytime job, auditions, and all of this and all of that, and then filming Shadow and Bone. And, you know, all of us put our heart and soul into it. And then COVID happening, you know, you have this horrible, horrific devastation and deaths, and, you know, this, I guess, freedom being stripped away from us and kind of being locked in our homes. And just going from super busy, you know, from my personal journey to absolutely nothing was, I went mad, honestly. I wasn't one of those people that like picked up a new skill or went out for a run or, you know, kept up their fitness regime. I wasn't that person. I just found it really difficult. You know, sometimes I wake up and I say, I've got nothing to do. Like, what, you know, what am I going to do? Why am I even awake sometimes? I should just go back to sleep.
About that. So many people are like, you know, it was so great to have this enforced pause, and I've just, you know, reread all the classics and learnt a new language, and I'm now playing concert piano. You're like, oh God, you know, I've eaten Doritos on the sofa and watched Netflix. You know? I've had to homeschool. I've had to homeschool. It's been the worst year ever.
Oh gosh, how was that for you? Because
don't ask. I'm self-medicating with wine.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? Just doing everything and having all of this energy in your house, because, you know, sometimes when you leave, there's this kind of this science behind it. You remember something you need to get from a room, and when you walk through the doorway you forget.
Have you got brain fog?
Yeah,
last year?
Brain fog,
yes, so many people
exactly.
There was an amazing article in the New York Times, I think, and it was saying that they need to come up, the writer was saying that we need to come up with like a medical term for how we're all feeling a bit meh. It can't just be like, oh, I don't know, I'm a bit sort of in between. And they were saying that it wasn't lethargy, I can't remember the actual, I'm languishing. That we can all say, if someone asks now, you can just say, oh, I'm languishing, and that would be the medical term for this sort of like feeling of like being a bit like you're wading through treacle at the end of lockdown. It's true.
I wish I'd known that word earlier, because I think every single one of my Twitter status every day would have been, I'm languishing today, I'm languishing today, and I'm languishing today. Yeah, exactly.
So I want to quickly ask you about, because I feel really bad that we've got so far in and I haven't asked you. Obviously the Outnet is a fashion retailer, and the costumes and everything on the show are just incredible, but I'm guessing that that's not how you dress on a day-to-day basis. So I wanted to ask you about your personal style, how you like to dress yourself, and are you enjoying being like styled for photo shoots and sort of having access to this fashion world?
Yeah, it's amazing. I live in onesies and trackies, but I love putting on a really beautiful piece of material or like some really nice trousers that go really well with the weather or the event that you're going to. I mean, don't get me wrong, I know nothing about fashion. So this world is completely new to me. But it's a really exciting world, and I've discovered that I love color and I love print. And I love things that kind of say something, you know. Fashion is meant to have a voice, and I think it should say something about yourself, or it should say something that you believe in or whatnot. And then there are times where you just live in your onesies and your trackies, and that's totally fine too,
So
you
are you
know.
going to throw away the onesies and the trackies now that we can get out again? No, you're not going to be the
No,
person putting on their glad rags and
no,
can you even
on
wear
it,
heels anymore after the last year? I don't know.
oh gosh, I had a photo shoot earlier, and I wore heels for, they were like, I swear to God, they were like 9 inches, and I've got size 4 feet. And they had no platforms or nothing.
Ow.
And poor photographer, like I was squeezing my bum so hard to try not to fall over. It was such a shock, and they had the worst cramps
Not
ever.
surprised.
But it was nice because, like, when you put on a pair of heels, my gosh, they make such a difference.
Yeah.
And when you find the right one, the posture looks great. I feel like, oh, hello.
Yeah.
Do you know what? But it's painful.
Yeah, but it is painful. You've got to pay, you know, that fashion is pain sometimes. So
Yeah, it
I
is.
can see lots of people, I think Freddie's been doing a live as well. So at the same time, but we'll save this down. So onto the Outnet's IGTV so that people can watch it again, I hope. So I just want to end by sort of saying, when does the next season start filming? Can you give us any kind of like, obviously not spoilers, but any sort of tantalizing little tidbits to keep us going?
So yes, I've got huge news. Unfortunately, I don't know. I wish I could tell you. I wish I could get into the Netflix headquarters and find that piece of paper that says, "Oh, it's been renewed," but I don't know. You know, I think we've stayed #1 in quite a few countries of the most watched show, and you know, we're quietly confident.
It's gonna happen.
I'm not ready to let this go, and you know, we haven't even done Six of Crows yet, and that is my favorite book, and I will kick up a riot if I don't get it. I might save up
So
all the money and
we need to
do
tell
my
them
own
that
spin-off.
Inertia is coming for Netflix unless.
Inertias, yes, exactly. But you know, I think we'll hear. I don't know. I don't know how it works. I think we'll hear soon if it does or if it doesn't. But please,
It'll happen. I
let it
think
be.
the fans are going to make it happen apart from anything else. It's been
Yeah,
such a success.
yeah.
And we honestly, at the Outnet, we wish you so much continued success. You're an absolute pleasure to talk to, and you've got like a lovely aura about you. I don't know if anyone's ever told you about that before, but you've just got a lovely way about you, and it's absolutely charming. And thank you so much for giving us your time. And the show is brilliant, and I'm going to watch the last 2 episodes tonight with my daughter. Can't wait. It's brilliant.
Oh, to send your daughter a big hug from me, and hopefully she's enjoying it. And thank you so much for being here as well and talking to me. I've had such a great time, and what a great conversation.
So nice to
It's
make
really
connections
refreshing.
outside
Thank
of
you.
your home, isn't it?
Yeah,
Thank you
it
so
is.
much.
It
Most
really, really is.
importantly, to everybody who's joined and watched as well. That's really brilliant.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Yeah.
Lots of love from Brazil.
I mean,
I'm
all around the
seeing
world,
from
all
everywhere.
around the world. It's been amazing. Really fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Have a lovely afternoon or evening or wherever you are. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thanks.